Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in. Just want to show you guys my M&P 2.0 compact. It just came in today. You might still be waiting on yours or might just be curious what comes in the box and what my initial impressions are of the gun. So I'm just going to kind of go over that really quickly here today. I've not fired this gun yet, so this is just kind of a quick unboxing and kind of telling you guys my initial impressions of it. So in the box itself, it's standard M&P 2.0 fare. There's nothing different here between this and the full size, except for you have these little grip extensions here that allow you to put a full-size magazine into this gun, and I'll kind of go over that here in just a few moments. The gun in hand feels just like my full-size M&P 4.25 model. And matter of fact, looking over the sights and kind of just handling the gun, you'd be hard-pressed probably to know the difference, except you can feel that the grip itself is truncated a little bit. So these are very similar, and almost to the point that I don't think you should probably own both of them like I do, unless you really like the gun like I do. So I don't have an issue having two that are very similar, but as for the common person, I think that this compact would get everything done that this full size would, and vice versa. This full size is small enough to carry without being a huge issue and making a necessity to change to the 2.0 compact. So I'll kind of go into that a little more in depth here in just a few moments. The slide itself is a 1/4 inch shorter than the full-size 4.25, being a 4-inch slide. So you're not going to see a big difference. And I'm going to try, obviously this is not scientific at all, but I'm going to try to line these up at the back and let you guys see. But that's all we're talking about there. So that's not going to make a difference in sight radius. That's not going to make a difference in the ability to conceal it. That's not going to make a difference in really even the weight. Okay, so they're that close, and I'll show you something else that I found interesting. These are so close. You probably know where I'm going with this now. These are so close that the full-size M&P 4.25 slide will go on the compact. Everything's in the same position, as long as you keep the recoil rod and recoil spring and everything in there from the original slide, because that obviously is tuned for that slide. But you can hear, it cycles fine. You can hear the firing pin dropping, so obviously the safeties and everything are working. So these should be interchangeable. Now, Smith probably doesn't want you to do that, and I don't think I would do that because they're very, very similar. But that's how similar they are. They're literally the same slide, just chopped down a little bit with a slightly different barrel and a different recoil spring and rod in there. So that's just something I wanted to point out, that I did notice that you can actually interchange the slides. They're that similar. And again, this isn't scientific. There's no way for me to, unless I mic these out or something, but get online, look at the differences between the slides, and it's minute. It is not anything that's really going to be noticeable to you, and it's not anything that's going to affect accuracy or anything for the average ordinary human being. Okay, so something I wanted to point out, they are very, very similar on the top end at least. Now moving down, the gun is obviously it's just kind of chopped off or truncated, very similar to basically what Glock did with the Glock 19 as compared to the Glock 17. They just kind of seemed like chopped it off and then just kind of made it work there. So, Glock 19 to me has always felt like a truncated Glock 17. The M&P 2.0 compact feels like a truncated M&P 4.25 as far as the lower half of it's concerned. The slide, I don't notice a difference looking over the top or pointing it or anything like that between the two. So, moving on down the gun, I'm going to tell you about an issue that I had already with this, and I kind of say already because the last thing you want is to have an issue right out of the box with a brand new gun. But this is an early run gun, so things happen, right? The magazines, they now drop freely, as you can see. There's nothing special I'm doing to get these magazines to drop out, and they drop out as they should. However, when I first got the gun, this magazine would fall maybe an inch or so out, and it would get stuck in here, and I'd have to actually take my fingers and pull it out. So an empty mag would not fall out on its own when I first got this gun. So I took the slide off of there, I looked down into the mag well itself, and I kind of watched as I loaded the mag where it was getting friction. And inside here, I don't think you'll be able to see it. You might be able to see my sanding marks in there somewhere. But inside here, about midway down this grip, there are casting marks of some sort, or mold marks. And they go all the way around, front, back, and both sides of the grip, and they're just kind of a little seam there. And for whatever reason, in my gun, that seam was thick enough to kind of pin the magazine in there and create friction, and it was enough friction to keep that from dropping out. So what I did is I went in there with some fine grit sandpaper, and I just kind of sanded that seam down, and that completely alleviated my problem. So it may be a QA/QC issue that Smith needs to kind of look at and, you know, maybe hand finish or something, or get their mold corrected. But that's what I did to fix it. Now, some people probably don't want to be sanding on their guns. I don't really have an issue with it because I know over time and usage, that's going to get marred up anyway in there, and you're going to be loading, you know, dirty magazines with sand or whatever else in there that's going to create scuffing and scratching. So not a big deal. I'm definitely going to use this gun. It's not going to be a safe queen or anything like that for me, so I don't have an issue doing that. Is it something you should have to do from a brand new gun out of the box? Probably not, because someone probably test fired this gun, and somebody probably realized when they went to drop the magazine, it gets stuck in there, oh well, you know, and they moved it on down the line. So not the best thing to find out, but not the end of the world because it's easily fixed. I'm not really going to go over many of the features on this gun because I went over those same features in the full-size model that I already have a video on. So all those features still apply on this gun. I'm excited to get some rounds in this. I think it's going to be just as accurate as a 4.25, at least in my fairly unskilled hands, and I don't think that it's going to have any negatives at all as far as the size itself, because it feels like I still have a good purchase on it. I can easily control it. I can acquire targets through the sights just as fast as I can with my full size. So really curious to put some rounds down with this and see. Now, the last thing I'm going to kind of say is that you need, as a gun buyer, to consider what fits best for you. I really don't think it's too practical for people to have the full size 4.25 model at least, and the compact both for most people. I really like the 4.25, so for me, it works. You know, I purposely pre-ordered this compact because I like the full size so much, but they're so common, so similar, that I just don't feel like this difference here is going to matter much at all. Okay, will the full size print more? Yes, probably, because the slide is not really going to matter when you carry it in a concealed manner. However, the butt is usually what prints on your shirt. So for some people, you know, the compact, having the smaller butt is going to definitely be worth it. Can you conceal this 4.25? Absolutely. This is a light gun. It's thin. There's really not a whole lot of difference between this and most compact guns. This is not like a huge full-size gun like you see some of those manufacturers coming out with. Let's say SIG 320 full-size, which is what I carry on my duty belt. That thing I would not be stuffing in my pants, in my waistband. I'd have no problem putting this there and carrying it concealed, especially in the winter months where maybe I have some more layers on. So I think this will do most of what the compact does. Now I will go kind of extend that, and I will say that I think the compact does 99.9% of what the full size does, simply because of this little addition here that allows you to run the full size 17 round magazines and finish out the grip. And obviously you can put them in there without the grip, and you could shoot fine as long as you keep your hand up on the grip. But if you add this little grip extension that they provided in the box, 2 of them are already in there, and I'm sure they'll sell them aftermarket. You've essentially got the 4.25 version of the M&P 2.0. So again, if you're thinking about maybe just getting one to try it out, get the compact. You can do pretty much everything you can with the full size in this. So just to kind of compare, I'll show you both of them with magazines in, and these are going to be near identical, save for the very small discrepancy up front here that's not going to matter to most of us that are ordinary human beings. Okay, and then down here in the grip area, we're identical now because we've got the same magazines in and we've got the extension on our grip there. So that's something I wanted to point out. I think you have a little more maneuverability, a little more flexibility with the compact version. I really like compact guns because of that. This could serve as a full-size duty gun. It could serve as a bedside gun. It could serve as a vehicle weapon. It could serve as a concealed carry weapon, definitely. And again, with Smith & Wesson kind of putting that in there, they're kind of marginalizing their sales for the 4.25, in my opinion, because this will do pretty much everything it does. You just got to get some 4.25 or some 17-round magazines, and you're good to go. Okay, so I wanted to point that out. I will get some rounds downrange in this and kind of report back, let you guys know what I'm seeing out there, if it's just as accurate or not. I have a very good feeling it will be. And fingers crossed on reliability. I've seen some negative reviews here lately about some guns being lemons that are the 2.0. Mine has been fantastic. I've had 0 malfunctions with mine. I've never had a bobble with mine. So just something that you should keep in mind there. They don't all seem to be bad. Maybe a couple out there, but you know, what gun manufacturer doesn't have those? I'm going to end this with the classic comparison between M&P 2.0 compact and Glock 19, the old standby, the workhorse, the one that kind of created this market for the compact guns. It is just amazing. You know, I'd say Smith & Wesson invested some money in some Glock 19s, and they definitely benchmarked the two pistols because they are identical in several ways, mostly just dimensions. If you look at the bottom here, you know, it's identical as far as how far the magazine always, base plate always sticks out on Glocks. But these are identical in height. They're identical in length. You're not going to notice a difference in weight. I can't tell any difference at all in weight. So other than the few ounces that's probably written down on paper, these are as close to being twins as you can get. Okay, and I really like that about the direction Smith & Wesson is going, because it seems to me that gun makers are traditionally the type of people who are going to tell you what their style is and then kind of make you conform to that. M&P with the 2.0, the changes they've made to it, and especially releasing this gun that is modeled after the Glock 19, after, you know, consumer demand kind of dictated this pistol be born. I'm really behind that. I really like to see a company nowadays kind of listen to its users, to its consumers, and try to fit what they need instead of telling them what they need. And I'm not going to throw Glock under the bus, but that has kind of been the style of some gun makers, you know, out there. It's kind of our way or the highway, and if you don't like it, oh well. And I think Smith & Wesson is staying true to its design philosophy, but it's kind of going out there on a limb and trying these things. It's making these changes that people are demanding, and I think it's really paying off as far as you know, the type of guns that they're cranking out now with this M2.0. And I will continue to support them with that philosophy, and then I hope they just continue to get better, and they continue to work with their consumers, and they continue to give us what we want. And I just think it's a great road to go down. So again, I'm impressed with the gun. A lot of parallels between the Glock 19, a lot of parallels between the full-size Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 4.25 model, at least. I didn't talk about the 5-inch version because I don't have one, but obviously a larger disparity between this and that. I'm not sure if those slides will change over or not. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. I'll put some rounds down this, and I'll do a more in-depth review shortly.